What's going on, members of the Burger Empire? Brian here for Body by Burgers. And I got a couple things to cover in this video. As you all know, I ran a Spartan race, and as you can tell, I'm kind of wearing a brand. So first and foremost, just a quick one, let's get this out of the way. I am proud to announce that I have become a brand ambassador for a company called Phoenix Fit, or FNX. I'm telling you guys, these supplements, they kick a bunch of ass. I got a noisy ass cat right beside me, so I apologize for that. So, with that being said, what does this mean for you guys? Well, you can go check out their website. I will put the link down below. Go check it out. They have supplements from testosterone boosters to sleep aids, which I've been taking religiously, and let me tell you, it kicks ass. I have not slept so good in about 2 years that I have with this sleep supplement. So it is doing its job. They've got protein powders. If you're sensitive to whey protein, they've got different bases for that. They've got attire, they got hats, they got shaker cups. Yeah, so they've got a little bit of everything. Branched chain amino acids. They've got a hydration complex for their waters, and it's pretty awesome. So go check it out. I will put their link down below, and what this means for you is that if you use the promo code BURGERS15 at checkout, you'll get 15% off. How sweet is that? So if you go check them out, make sure to use that promo code at checkout, and you'll get 15% off. Now, when it comes to the Spartan race, this is 3 weeks out from the time I ran the Spartan race, so things are probably going to be a little bit foggy, but I'm going to tell you one thing is for sure. This entire time, I've been training for a 5K race. It was not a 5K race. It was nearly 8. Well, the sign for the map said 8K. When you actually got to the staging area, they said 7.5K. Let's just go split the difference and call it 7 3/4 K. But I can tell you right now, it was definitely longer than 5K. Couple things were different than when I had ran it 2 years ago. So when I had ran it 2 years ago, yeah, 100% it was a 5K race. But from what I can tell, all of the obstacles that were in that race 2 years ago were much more difficult than the race that I ran 3 weeks ago. I think what they do is, instead of there being, like, I guess, the difficulty of obstacles, they make it the race itself more difficult by stretching out the length. So an extra 3K, okay, whatever, I'll take it. You know, this whole couple years, I've just kind of been doing things in stride and running with it and going from there. So we get into the race, and this is the first thing that was 100% different than it was 2 years ago. The staging area. 2 years ago, you walk through a gate, you stand there, they pump you up, you run the race. This year, you jump a 4-foot fence to get into that staging area, and they don't even consider that an obstacle. If you guys have been following my other social medias, my Instagram and whatnot, you know that I kind of have a little bit of wrist issues in the left wrist, down in the forearm. But anyway, I jumped that wall and I hit this part on my hand, and it causes that wrist pain to happen. And I'm like, great. Whatever, jump the wall, and I know then that it's time to just let it be and just overall figure out a better position for my hand to be when I'm jumping walls. A little bit different wall scheme when I was jumping the walls than what they had 2 years ago. First and foremost, they still had the 4-foot wall to start, but when you, instead of running along and having a 4-foot wall, a wall you go under, and then another 4-foot wall, what they had was a 4-foot wall, and after that 4-foot wall, you actually had to walk a 4-foot wall that you couldn't jump over like efficiently, like hoist yourself and go through. It was actually just like a window that you had to go through, so 4 feet up and then down through a window, and then you continue to run. You continue to run along, and I'm probably going to forget some of the obstacles just because it was about 3 weeks ago. But a couple things that was really cool. They basically had a rope pull. So for the guys, there's a 50-pound sandbag like on the ground, and essentially it's a pulling machine, and you have to pull the bag straight up and then let the bag down, but you can't let the bag drop. If they hear the bag drop, 30 burpees, away you go. So that was something that was definitely different than it was 2 years ago. which I found a lot of fun because it really plays into my bodybuilding background quite well. And then running along, there really was a ton of new obstacles. There were still like the 22 obstacles or more, whatever they had determined. But they still had the sandbag carry. The sandbag carry was a little bit different. So instead of it being like a big log that you had on your back that you went downhill and up, and it was like 2 years ago, it was one of the gradual hills on the actual motocross track. This year is more like a puck-shaped 50-pound bag, and the incline was like a solid 70 degrees down and up, and you had to like basically follow grooves in this sandbag or on the side of the hill to get that sandbag up, and that was like right after that trail run. So the trail run was the same as it was 2 years ago, but the big difference was it was dry this year, so it wasn't like ankle deep water that you're trudging through, and it was actually going the opposite way. The one thing that they didn't have this year that they had 2 years ago was the zigzags up and down the side of that hill. They had completely eliminated the side of that hill. The hill that you actually carried the sandbags up and down this year was the same hill that they used for the rock carry 2 years ago that I had just skipped. So this year, the rock carry was actually basically just a donut. It was just a circle with a slight dip in and out. And that was basically the same thing for the stone pull. So those were the same, just the difficulty was greatly decreased on those particular obstacles. New things, they still had the monkey bars, and I didn't finish the monkey bars, but I felt like I have a pretty good chance of doing it next year. There you go. I'm going to run maybe 2 next year. I'm hoping for 2 next year. Yeah, they had the monkey bars. I didn't finish that. They also had a V'd wall where you had to essentially, there's holes and chains and like rocks where you can put your hands in and try and crawl across. I got about a third of a way across that, slid down. So once you do that, it means burpees. I had to do burpees there. Had to do burpees on the monkey bars. They had another obstacle called Olympus. So it's kind of like a more difficult monkey bar. You start with rings. So you grab the rings, you swing across, and then you go into a straight bar. From the straight bar, there's little balls that you have to try and grab to hit the bell at the end. I was too short, jumped up, grabbed the one ring, and instantly fell down, so I had to do burpees there. And they had a rope climb, which I may or may not have remembered from 2 years ago. I don't exactly remember if there was one 2 years ago, but it's definitely an obstacle I didn't even attempt, and I just started to do my burpees on. The barbed wire crawl. So this, there's actually 2 separate barbed wire crawls in this race. One at the very end, one near the middle-ish, closer to the actual last half of the half, so about the 3/4 mark. And it was a long one, probably about 200 feet or so. I don't know, I'm terrible at judging distance, but it felt like about 200 feet because most people could just roll under it. Like there was enough space between the barbed wire and the ground that you could just roll under it. Not me. I got some pretty wide shoulders, so I essentially had to military crawl the whole way through. And I mean, most of the marks on my elbow are gone. I mean, let's see. Yeah, they're pretty gone. The camera's not really picking them up all too well. I mean, yeah, a couple marks right in about there, but yeah, not much left. But I crawled that whole distance. Definitely some marks on my knees and the whole 9 yards from that. But I got it done. They had a couple of what me and my friends have affectionately named poop soup sections, which is just basically flooded water. Not nearly as deep as it was 2 years ago either. Like 2 years ago, I'm like trudging in water up to here. It was mostly waist height this time, which wasn't too bad to deal with. You know, overall, it was just stinky more than an inconvenience than anything. Once you finish that like barbed wire crawl, you got into a few sections. That's where the rope climb was, which I didn't do. There was 2 of the rope ladder, so to speak. I remember 2 years ago, there's the one that was just like straight up. straight down. That one was there. There was also a tent-shaped one. I did both of those, no problem. I just really got nervous at heights because I still hate heights and I suck at heights. And what else was there? There was a really awesome like strongman style workout where they gave you a 50-pound sandbag, and for myself, this is where the cramping started to settle in a little bit. It wasn't terrible. It was mostly my hamstrings, so I can stretch out hamstrings on the fly, and away I go. But it was a 50-pound sandbag. You grab it from the ground and you clean it to your shoulders, press it up, drop the bag, do a push-up, and do that movement again 5 times. And I found that to be so much fun, and it's probably because it was up my alley, because it was like a strength training event. So that was pretty awesome. You know, and I'm running along, and I start following people, right? And you get through one of these poop soup sections, and then you get to, like, I can't remember the exact order. I think it was like log carry, Atlas stone, and then tire flip. I think is how it went. But here's where things got all messed up. Is I hit the log carry, and then I finished that event, and then I started following people, and these people looked confident where they were going, and it turns out they were going off course. So I followed these people off course. Most definitely didn't get to do the Atlas stones, and that is something that I was looking forward to the most. So I missed the Atlas stones, wasn't able to do them because I just wasn't on the course, but then I got to do the tire flip. So those 3 things, the tire flip, the Atlas stones, and the log carry, were definitely different than 2 years ago. They did not exist. So we've got that Olympus apparatus, the wall, like the wall with the holes, the rocks, and the chains was definitely different. They did not have the zigzag wall or the zigzag balance this year. What they did have, though, was a pull and drag. So you had a metal sled full of a bunch of rocks, and you had to basically grab it and pull it. And like, this wasn't like standing row. You actually had to jerk it through, pull it in, and once you hit the peg, you grab the other side where there's a steel chain or a chain that you grab, hurts the hands a little bit, and you haul ass back the other way until the slack has gone out of that chain from pulling it back. So that was fun. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, so that was different. The trail part of it was a little bit different. The big wall, the big 10-foot wall, definitely needed help over that one again this year, and one guy helped me. The advantage, though, this one, I for sure didn't fall off like I did 2 years ago. I landed on my feet, so I was a little bit more agile that way. The inverted wall, I forgot about that one. That was actually pretty early in the race, slightly after the wall that you jump through the hole on. I walked up to it and I kind of did like half-ass little jump and I was like, no, I can't get it. And then the guy that was doing the judging said, no, we're going to get you over this wall. So I thought, okay. So I actually got a running start, jumped up, got my left leg over, and I was in this awkward position where I was like, I'm not going to get over. I am legitimately stuck. And then all of a sudden I felt like 6 sets of hands come up from under me and actually push me over the wall. So I got over that. Definitely with some great help on the inverted wall and the big 10-foot wall. So thank you to all of those that helped me out for that. Another obstacle that I ended up completing this year that I couldn't complete 2 years ago was the other triangle wall, but this one just had a rope that you had to grab and you climb up, go down the other side. Got that, and that was actually the very last obstacle this year. What they ended up having for the really dirty barbed wire crawl was you went through a bunch of poop soup, and halfway through that poop soup, there's this wall. And you walk up to it and, oh, not too bad, just a little 4-foot wall. I don't get to jump that. I have to go under that wall. So then you go under the wall, you come out the other side, mud's just pouring off of your face, you can't see, you think you're blind for half a second. What does my dumbass do? I take my shirt, it's full of mud, wipe it across my face. Now I got dirt and mud and shit in my eyes. But whatever. I'm at the home stretch at this point. Mud's in my face. Get up to the barbed wire crawl, and you start crawling underneath the barbed wire. And this one, legitimately, there's no rolling through it. It's much more tight than the other dry one. And I start crawling through, and it's slippery. So for every like 4 inches I would move forward, I would slide back 2. So there wasn't a lot of progression. But once you got past the barbed wire, there was like a section where you had to go a little bit uphill, and it was just muddy and slippery and just gross. So you have to be pretty careful and watching your step there as well. And then that's where the final obstacle of the V, or the tent style wall with the rope was there. Climb down the other side. The only problem was that my time probably could have been a couple minutes faster, but I ended up getting a giant leg cramp, or not a leg cramp, but a foot cramp. As I threw my left leg over that wall, it just started to like ball up on me. But nonetheless, finished the race, and I was looking forward to jumping over the fire this year because I was actually having the energy, and I was light enough and able to, and they didn't have the fire. So that was my one bit of disappointment. But overall, I smashed my goal, even with going off a little course. I'm assuming going off course and not being able to do the Atlas Stones was faster than actually doing the Atlas Stones. So even if I add 5 minutes for doing that obstacle for the Atlas Stone, which is on average what it took me to do each obstacle, regardless of burpees or not, we are sitting, like my official time when I crossed the line was 2 hours and 7 minutes. So let's add 5 minutes, so 2 hours, 12 minutes for missing the Atlas Stone carry. And I said I wanted to be about an hour faster, and I'm an hour and 15 minutes faster than I was 2 years ago. So mission accomplished. I was 100 pounds down to run my next Spartan race, or my second Spartan race. So I hit every goal that I was looking for out of this Spartan race, and I couldn't be happier. I got both medals hanging up on my wall, side by side, in a nice little shape. So pretty happy, pretty stoked about that, and I'm looking forward to the next 2. That's right. We're going to say it here first. I'm going to run 2 more Spartan races next year. Looking forward to doing the Red Deer Spartan, which isn't a sprint. I believe this one is a super, maybe a beast. I can't remember the classification, but it's at least 15K, and it's up in Red Deer. And really, I've had a couple buddies do it, and they just say, go do it just for the scenery sake of it, because it's just a beautiful run. So I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to do the Calgary one. I would like to be around the hour-and-a-half mark doing the Calgary one, and I want to be able to run it with my friends and not hold them up. So with that being said, I've got a lot more goals that I need to hit when it comes to running that Spartan race. I want to be hovering around that 200-pound mark. At 210, I'd be happy. So that would be about another 60 pounds lost in about a year's time. So that's the parameters. I've laid it out right there. I'm excited to see what this comes, and there it is. So don't forget, you guys, go check out Phoenix Fit. I'll put the link down below, fnxfit.com. Be sure to use that checkout code BURGERS15 at the checkout to save yourself a cool 15%. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video. Comment down below if you've ever ran a Spartan race, or if you plan on running a Spartan race. Don't forget to subscribe. It's the only way to become a member of the Burger Empire. Working hard on getting more content for you guys. I think the way I'm changing my training regiment up, I should be able to get a lot more content for you guys. So until next time, thank you very much again, and Burger Power.